All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beef Up Front podcast. Been a busy few days over here at Pixel Media. Last night, went through all four regions, broke down every single game of the first round, as well as gave our teams that would advance to the Elite Eight and eventually the Final Four. Right before this episode, I did my first 10 or my 10 favorite first round matchups. And then after this episode, I'll be doing 20 players to watch in this NCAA tournament. But this is our big one where we go through the entire bracket game by game and then pick the eventual beef up front national champion, majority rules. So we need 2 out of 3 votes at least for the team to move on. But we'll give a little quick hit on the game, why you think a team can win a certain game, why you think maybe an upset's going to happen. And then once we get to the Final Four, pick our champion and then stake our claim for beef to a certain team. But did this 3-man weave type show last year, Joe and Luke, back again. I'll run the point. You guys run the floor, and we'll get these picks in and then pick our national champion. But welcome back, boys. We're doing this 6:41. Got right over my shoulder Howard versus Wagner about to start off the first game of the tournament.
I can always turn myself this way and just let you guys sit.
Here we go. How are we?
Fantastic. I mean, it's March. We got the game on. It's the best time of year. The next 4 days.
It just tipped off. My bracket's already broken, and Howard's about to lose by 30, and they were my champion. So,
and this game's gonna go over too. So it's over.
All right. So we'll start. I guess we'll just start for the first round. We'll go through the entire first round, and then we'll work the entire thing. Round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, and then the championship. Start at the top. Number 1, UConn in the East. Number 16, Stetson. Clean sweep here for UConn, fellas. Need we say much?
Yes.
Sure, for sure.
All right, next one. First game on Friday. One of the top 10 games for me of the first round. Number 8, FAU, coming off last year's Final Four run. First, number 9, Northwestern, led by Boo Buie. Joe, who you got moving on in this one?
So cool. I have FAU winning. This is just one of those games. I feel like people are going to be saying 2 things. One, FAU way overseeded, getting a lot of the residuals from last year's run. So they're going to want to fade them. And also, look at FAU losing against, these smaller, lesser opponents. I think that undervalue is going to kind of have not a lot of people, picking Northwestern as a trendy little upset here. I'm going to go with FAU. I think they'll cover as well. I just think that this has been a team that's just been waiting to kind of come out for March Madness and, try to make a run again. So I'm going to go with FAU.
Yeah, that's why I like FAU too. I think too their depth against Northwestern is going to show. But I'm with you, Joe. They've played up to their competition and up to teams when they've needed to. They've struggled against some of the worst competition, but I think they were a team that played a lot of the season kind of on cruise control, just waiting to get to this moment, get to March, because I know last year as a 9 seed, all they had to do is get in, and they can make some noise from there. I think they're in the same kind of position this year. I think UConn should be worried in the next round. But, yeah, I'm going with FAU as well. Luke, are you Northwestern or FAU? Regardless, we're going with the Owls.
I'm going with FAU, and I have FAU going on a little run here. But I think for this game, it's more to me about Northwestern being one of those teams that really shouldn't be in, kind of a borderline team. I kind of maybe think they stole a spot from Seton Hall. That's just my opinion. But FAU, I definitely think is going to take this one. I would have them move on. I think they're in my Elite 8, but I'll spoil that for later on. But, yeah.
All right, next game we go to San Diego State UAB in the 5-12 matchup. San Diego State over UAB is my favorite 5/12. I took them -7 as well. I think this could be one of the uglier games of the first round, and UAB gets kicked around a little bit. Anybody like UAB actually in this matchup?
No, I saw UAB though today as the most money on them spread of any team though.
UAB does or San Diego State?
UAB plus 6.5 is the most bet game, like money wise.
Wow.
Like all the money is in UAB.
Yeah, he's right. I think it was something like it's not one of the top 3 tickets, but in terms of money on the game, it's like the most. I mean, I took UAB spread just only reason why because I'm doing like the system play of I'm taking every 12 and 13 seed spread, seeing how much money I make off of that. Because I feel like more often than not that's profitable. I still think San Diego State's going to win the game. And it wouldn't shock me if they covered that spread, but I just don't think UAB. Like I think I was listening to a podcast today UAB's like defensive efficiency is like in the 200s or something like that.
Mhm.
Really, really bad. And when you play bad defense against a San Diego State team that likes to play good defense, they can score more points as well, which benefits San Diego State. I think this game could get ugly pretty quick.
Yeah,
I think San Diego State's going to run him out of the gym. All right, 4-13 matchup now with Auburn against Yale. Luke, let's start with you first. You taking Auburn or Yale in this matchup?
I always take my Ivy League to win a game. Give me Yale.
Wow.
Always.
Joe?
I love Yale to cover, but I'm still going with Auburn to win the game. I just think at the end of the day, like the talent and the athleticism will kind of let Auburn survive. But I think this is going to be a back and forth game. And, the Auburn fans that are getting pissed off that a lot of people are saying Yale is an upset or Yale to cover. Like,
this might be the fastest game in this region, I think, in terms of like pace, back and forth.
I think Yale would want to do the opposite. But I mean, if Auburn has their way, you're correct. Like Auburn,
right.
Want to try to run. Yale, it's just going to be interesting who can control the tempo. But I think Auburn will end up winning this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Auburn as well. Auburn in their wins this year, 26 of their 27 games by double digits. I found that to be pretty insane. So they're a 13-point favorite here in this one. I think if you think Auburn's going to win, take them with that minus 13 as well. Their athleticism and speed might just be a little bit too much for Yale to handle. So got Auburn moving on there. I think we're going to have a clean sweep in this one. I'd be surprised if not, but is everyone on BYU in this game?
Yes.
All right. We won't say much about that one. BYU, just really good offensive shooting team. I think they move on there.
It needs to take Duquesne.
Yeah. Number 3, Illinois versus number 14, Morehead State, a game that I've seen floated around as a potential upset pick. Joe, you think the Illini move on here?
I think they will. I do like Morehead State to cover. That's another one of the games, Luke, that you were talking about. I saw that tweet as well. I think it's one of the most bet money-wise and like ticket-wise, Morehead State to cover. So it'll just be something to look out for. But I think Illinois is going to win this game. It will be close, I think. I think Illinois might pull away in the end. Hitting free throws when Morehead State kind of has to foul. But I'm going to go with the Illini here.
Yeah, agreed. No, I agree. I think Illinois is one of those teams that I said right before the tournament started. I think they can go on a run. But yeah, Morehead State, I did see that as well. They were one of the higher bet teams money wise in the tournament. So I'm gonna go Illini there.
Yeah, I'll take Illinois too. I think their talent's just going to trump Morehead State. They've been playing really well, Illinois. I think that if they win this game, that'll set up a really nice and fun matchup against BYU there as well. So looking forward to this one. But we'll take the Illini to move on. Number 7, Washington State versus number 10, Drake. I'm all in on Drake. I think Drake has a potential to be one of the darlings of this tournament, a Sweet 16 team at least, maybe even an Elite 8 team. Tucker DeVries is going to be the best player on the court more times than not when he goes out there. So I'm going to take Drake here with the seeding upset. I think they're actually a favorite on the betting market still. But either of you guys like Wazoo or both of you on Drake as well?
I'm all on Drake. I'm all in on Drake. I like it a lot. The betting line says it all. I think they're 1.5. They opened at 1.5 and stuck there. And it's a pretty heavy, not heavy bet team, but I think they're pretty popular in terms of the, bracket. So I'm all in on them too.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it best. I'm going to go with Drake. Like I said last night, this game is being played in Omaha, Nebraska. I think you're going to get a pretty big Drake contention coming down from Iowa. So I like Drake here as well. I just think Washington State got a brutal draw. Like, welcome back to the tournament. You guys have to play probably, one of the best mid-majors in the whole tournament. And if they were to pull off the win, you got to go and face a gauntlet of region to get to the Final Four.
All right, so we got Drake moving on there. And then are we all taking with Iowa State here in the 215? Any chance South Dakota State pulls off an upset in this one?
I don't think I picked any 15 now that I think about it. I don't think I picked any this year. But, I like Iowa State a lot.
All right, well, we got just one seeding upset there, technically, in that first region up in the East. We'll go down into the West now, where North Carolina will be playing the winner of this Howard Wagner game. That is off to a not great start for the underbetters, 15 points at the under 4 timeout. Pretty sure Wagner didn't get to 9 points until 10 minutes into the game in their last game, but that's marked for you. But yeah, North Carolina rolls either of these teams.
Yeah,
Carolina.
All right, here's one of the, I mean, at least in my eyes, one of the bigger coin flip games in the entire tournament. I think a lot of people are taking Michigan State, but I'm actually going Mississippi State. I think Michigan State, Joe, you and I have talked about it all year. I think the most overrated team in the country. If they were named, I don't know. I know Nebraska had a good year this year, made the tournament, but say they were named Nebraska or like a Oklahoma State. I don't know, some like lower tier team from one of these power programs and not power conferences and not a team with a brand name like Michigan State. Would they have even made the tournament with that 19-14 record? I don't quite think so. I think they kind of got the Tom Izzo benefit of the doubt. I think Mississippi State is going to expose them in this game and win. I think their front court tweak, Tolu Smith, is a force in the front court for Mississippi State. I'm going to take the Bulldogs.
No, I agree with that completely. It's basically just because they have Tom Izzo. I don't think they're a good team, but I'm rolling Mississippi State. Once again, not because I like Mississippi State. It's more because I don't think Michigan State's one of the good teams in this tournament.
I just think these are both like not good teams. Like I think Mississippi State beating Tennessee in the SEC tournament really is kind of making people be like, oh, look how good Mississippi State is. I know they had a couple good regular season wins, but they kind of, that loss against Kentucky, I feel like kind of hurt them a little bit just because they had such a golden opportunity to win it. I think Mississippi State is, if they do win, I don't have them beating North Carolina, but I think Michigan State is going to win. Obviously, we're going to go with Mississippi State here for the beef bracket, just because at the end of the day, even though I think this year has sucked, I don't even know if Michigan State should have been in the tournament or at least as safely as they were. But I'm not going to bet against Tom Izzo, even if he is kind of losing his fastball a little bit. I still won't bet against Tom Izzo in the first round.
Wait, Luke, did you pick Michigan State or Mississippi State? I thought I heard
Mississippi State. Mississippi State.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard you say you like Mississippi State better, but you're going to go with Michigan State.
No. Yeah, I picked Mississippi State.
All right, now we go to the 5-12 matchup, St. Mary's Grand Canyon, another one a lot of people have circled. Grand Canyon, a cool story. Their best player, Foster, he had like a heart problem, almost wasn't able to ever play basketball again, almost died, I believe, when he was at Kansas, I think it was. Now he's back. He was the WAC player of the year, averages close to 20 points a game. Pretty awesome story for a Grand Canyon team that won 29-4 this year, playing this number 5 seeded St. Mary's, who started the year out 3-5, and they finished really strong and had a really nice year. Joe, give me your pick for this one, St. Mary's or Grand Canyon?
I'm going St. Mary's. Like I said, initially I picked Grand Canyon when I did my gut reaction type thing. But ultimately, I'm going with St. Mary's. I just think they'll slow it down. I think Grand Canyon's going to get frustrated at times not being able to control the pace, kind of go with their speed. But I'm going to go with St. Mary's here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. I think St. Mary's is one of those teams, they can slow down the game. They won't let you go on big runs if they can, continue to do that like they've been doing at the back half of this year. I think they can compete with any team in this tournament. But I'm going to go with St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm taking St. Mary's too. I think when you get a team that plays go like Grand Canyon wants to do, they scored over 80 points like 20 times this year. I think it was 21-1 when they score 80 or more. I believe the stat was that I researched. St. Mary's hasn't allowed 75 or more. It's only allowed 75 or more twice the entire season. So St. Mary's, I think, has just shown that they're better at controlling the game at their own type of pace. And when you get a team that wants to go like Grand Canyon, I think the team that wants to go slow like St. Mary's usually kind of wins because they can just walk it up every time if they want. And even if they do get pressure, have to break the press or whatever, they can still slow it down in the half court. So I'm going to go with St. Mary's, but it is a game where I think you want to look at like a first half money line. It might be a little too much on the money line there for St. Mary's, but even spread, if you think they're going to win, take them in the first half too. Or if you think Grand Canyon pulls off the upset, I say take them in the first half too, because I think whoever is able to kind of dictate that tempo in the first half of this game will ultimately go and win, because both these teams are really only comfortable playing at their own styles of play. So I'll go with St. Mary's for our pick in the bracket, but I think that's going to be a fascinating watch as well. All right, the opposite of St. Mary's. Both these teams do want to just go, foot on the gas the entire time. Highest total in the tournament at 173.5. Alabama versus Charleston. Anyone think Charleston has a chance to pull off the upset here?
No.
I just think Bama's better at doing what Charleston does. I think simply enough. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, spot on. Like I said, if you're going to take two teams that don't play defense, I'll take the guys that play in the SEC over the CAA. So.
Yep, nothing else for me there. That's all I had to. Number 6, Clemson versus number 11, New Mexico. We discovered this last night. New Mexico plus 240 to make it to the Sweet 16 as an 11 seed. That's the 22nd best odds out of any team in the tournament. I found that pretty insane. I'm actually going with Clemson. I feel like a lot of people are going with New Mexico here as a trendy 11 over 6. Clemson, they remind me a lot of Wisconsin, where at their peak, they can play with just about anyone, but we've seen them go up and down and through lulls throughout the entire season. New Mexico just had a magical run through the Mountain West tournament. Clemson got bounced early in the ACC tournament. They're going to be rested and ready to go. New Mexico might have just been playing off kind of that energy and that mojo from that week. So I think New Mexico falls back a little bit, and Clemson's able to move on here.
I mean, I'm just going with New Mexico here, honestly, just because I kind of said it yesterday about Clemson. Seemed like, they did finish strong, but losing 3 of their last 4, getting blown out to Boston College. And just where they started, they're kind of trending a little bit downward still, in my opinion, whereas New Mexico, this is one of the only times where I think winning the conference tournament helps them. Like, their momentum is just so through the roof. I think New Mexico is going to end up winning this game. And New Mexico could end up being a somewhat of a darling, even though they're gambling-wise, they're favored to go pretty far, I guess. But I could see, everyone, like that Monday after the first weekend being like, oh, look at this, the Lobos of New Mexico, making it to the Sweet 16, and people will be talking a lot about them. So I'm going to go with New Mexico here.
Yeah, Joe, I'm with you on that. I couldn't have said it better, but New Mexico, I definitely think it's a team that's trending up, and Clemson's just been consistently trending down since they've started out that hot beginning of the year. I'm going to roll with New Mexico as well.
All right. Well, we have an upset there with New Mexico moving on. Baylor versus Colgate. I think this has a chance to be one of the bigger blowouts of the first round in the favor of Baylor there, obviously. Either of you guys going with Colgate, or we got Baylor penciled to the next round?
Baylor.
All right. Number 7, Dayton versus number 10, Nevada. Another pure coin flip game. Wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams win. I do expect both of them most likely to lose to Arizona in the next round. I don't think either of them really poses much of a threat there. But, Joe, why don't you start us off with this one? Dayton or Nevada here?
So I have Nevada here just because another team like Dayton, if you really look at their schedule, in the A10, they weren't great. I think they finished 2 as a 2 seed, but they lost 5 games, including the conference tournament, all to the upper echelon teams in the A10. Their non-conference really wasn't anything to write home about. And I mean, Nevada's the same way, but at the end of the day, I think the Mountain West is a little bit better of a league than the A10. So I'm going to go with Nevada here in a close game. Like, I think there's a reason why the spread was like 1 point as of last night. So I'm going to go with Nevada here, though.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Nevada as well. This is one this I think has been my biggest coin flip so far. I've been between Dayton and Nevada, but I both have them losing the next round. I think right now I'm still on Nevada, but I'll roll with them. I'm a big Lucas fan, that point guard, shooting guard.
I have Dayton in this one, so obviously it doesn't matter there. Like I said, pure coin flip. I don't think either way, I'm not going to be surprised. So we got Nevada moving on there?
Yeah.
All right, Arizona, Long Beach State. Does Long Beach State's magic continue, or Arizona avenges their 215 loss last year?
Arizona.
The Avengers. That's what the A stands for.
Oh, jeez.
The nerd reference with me. Are we serious?
Yep. I kicked off the stream.
All right, we go to the South now. Luke, your region. Houston versus Longwood. Houston moving on?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, this is my favorite game of the first round, the game I'm looking forward to the most. Number 8, Nebraska versus number 9, Texas A&M. Joe, why don't you start us off with this one? Aggies or Huskers winning here?
Going with the Aggies here, honestly, I just think the team that you and I have been disappointed in the most, the team where it seems like so many people are going to be like, oh, Nebraska, they had a really, disappointing season. They came on late to kind of sneak in here as a 9. I think them at 9 is a little bit high, but I think that they're just a better team than Nebraska. At the end of the day, outside of the top teams, the Big Ten's a pretty, not great power conference. And I just don't think Nebraska is going to be able to keep up with A&M. They have that really good. Nebraska has the good guard, the Asian kid. I forget his name off the top of my head. But besides that, that would be a cool story. I could see social media going crazy with him if Nebraska were to win a game. But I think A&M honestly is just a better team here, and Nebraska away from home is like really bad.
Luke?
Yeah, I think A&M has been one of the most streaky teams of the entire college basketball season, how up and down they've been. But I really was impressed the way they played through that tournament and their conference tournament. So I'm going to roll with A&M here, but I wouldn't be surprised if A&M wins this game by 20 or loses by 20 because they've just been so inconsistent.
Yeah, that's been the theme of their season, the up and down consistency or lack thereof. I think that's the best way to put it, Luke. Like, even if you think A&M is going to win this game, maybe even look to take them with an alternate spread, like take them minus 7 or something, because wouldn't be surprised to see them blow them out, like you said, or them get blown out. You never know what team's showing up, but I'll take the chances with their talent. And like Joe was saying as well, Nebraska struggles away from home. All right, number 5, Wisconsin versus number 12, James Madison. I got a feeling both of you are on James Madison in this one. I actually have Wisconsin, like I said earlier, with Clemson. There was a really good team in there at one point of this season, and they've shown it in spurts a little bit over the second half of the year. Wisconsin won 3 of 4 to close the year, including beating Purdue. I just think James Madison is too trendy of the upset pick, so I actually like Wisconsin to move on here.
Luke, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I think in this region, honestly, the mid majors and the lower seeds in general are kind of stacked. Like James Madison dominated their conference. Same thing with Vermont, but I actually roll with James Madison here. I'm not really sold on Wisconsin too much. I know they had a good run in the Big Ten tournament, but I think James Madison. I'll give them the nod on this one.
Yeah, I mean, JMU ultimately, Coyle, I do kind of feel like a sucker picking them. But at the end of the day, if you look at the other 12 5s, I'm pretty confident in McNeese, winning a game. I have them going to the Sweet 16. I'll spoil that. But we already talked about UAB. I do not see UAB, and I do not see Grand Canyon moving on. So my whole logic is, if you're going to pick one of the two, pick this one. And like I said, this is the pardon my take factor. If I can see Big Cat drunk on Friday night crying on stream as James hits another deep 3, and the Barclays Center just goes ballistic. So I am going to go with James Madison here.
All right. Next game then. Yes, we got James Madison. Next game, we got Duke at number 4. Least hyped Duke team I think we can remember in recent memory. Going into the tournament versus number 13, Vermont. Vermont's gone to 4 of the last 6 NCAA tournaments, has not won a game in any of those. I'm not expecting that to continue here. So you guys all like Duke to win this game as well?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Number 6, Texas Tech versus another one of last week's championship week darlings in 11, NC State. The refrigerator with ballerina feet, that is DJ Burns. I think if they win a game, he's going to get even more notoriety and fame. I think it's kind of funny, though, that people are just kind of realizing him because he was on NC State last year, and NC State was a tournament team last year as well. So he's now just kind of getting, I guess, his well-deserved spotlight. But I'm going to go with Texas Tech. Joe, you heard me say it a million times last night, but I'm fading most of these teams that won their conference tournaments, especially if they needed to do it to get the automatic qualifier bid. So I'm going to go with Texas Tech in that spot.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coyle. I'll be quick. Texas Tech, copy and paste what you said. Luke, I know you're a big NC State guy.
I do. No, I have NC State here. I also am biased to have a $10 future to win $1,000 if they go to the Final Four. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with NC State, but we could pencil in Texas Tech because honestly, it's probably what's gonna happen anyway.
All right, another one that I'm expecting a roll here: Kentucky over Oakland. Any of you guys think that either of these teams have a shot? Or excuse me, Oakland has a shot of
That's
not.
the end of the tie. I got to tie him.
I do not think Oakland wins this game, though. I'm going to go with Kentucky.
Yeah,
Speaking of,
Kentucky.
I don't think he's going to win a game. Wagner is dominating Howard right now. No foul. The other is dead. Howard is dead. We're already off to a great
start. Under in this. What was the first half under in this game?
I don't know, probably
like 57 or something.
Oh, that's done. No, yeah, 31. Oh, jeez.
But Wagner doesn't score much more. 59.5 actually. The second game is 55.5.
Oh,
that's crazy. I want somebody to watch him paint dry.
On Action, it has it as a green right now. So,
well, it's all
it's actually not that good.
All right. We don't know the winner of this game yet. Obviously, Boise State, Colorado, but winner of that game will play Florida. I guess. Do you guys think either of those teams could beat Florida, or only one if it happens? I don't know. What are your thoughts on the potential matchups there? And do you have Florida advancing regardless? Luke, starts off there.
I got the Gators. I don't got much to say about this one. I'm going to roll with Florida. The other matchup for the one we're watching tonight, Colorado State, that one's kind of more dependent for me than this one. I think I'm rolling with Florida either way here, no matter what the outcome is.
I'm going with Florida as well. I really like their guards.
I'm going with I think Colorado's going to beat Boise, then I'm going with Colorado. But I can also see Boise State beating Florida. Ultimately, I know he wasn't a starting center, but their depth is kind of affected. Even if Florida does win this game, I don't see them going much further. I have them losing to Marquette in the next round, who I'll take the lead from you here, Cole, with this one. I think we're all picking Marquette here.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm so scared about that game. If there's any 2-15 upset, it's going to be that one. Like, it will be that one.
That's what I've been looking at as well. Western Kentucky's got a lot of depth and a lot of guys that are able to score, and they put up 80 points a game. That's not a good recipe against a Marquette team that's a little short on depth at the moment. So that's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that game. That's a Friday at 2. Yeah, that'll be a nice one to start off Friday afternoon. All right, Purdue knocking off Montana State or Grambling. Is that a sure thing, boys?
I think Purdue is a sure thing this year, yes, unlike last year.
No, yeah, I'm rolling with Purdue, but I'm not going to sit here and say the sure thing.
Utah State or TCU. This is I think one of the least attractive games in the entire tournament. I really like Utah State in this one. I wasn't a believer in this TCU team for most of the season. I thought Utah State, in my opinion, was the best team in the Mountain West this year. So I'm going to go with Utah State. Joe?
I agree. Utah State, definitely like them. I got them at plus 3.5. I don't know if that line has changed at all. But I don't see – if TCU does win this game, I don't see them winning by more than 3 points. Cole, we talked about it. They're gross, disgusting non-conference. It was already pretty weak to begin with, but then you look, they lost to the only good teams they played in the non-conference for the most part. TCU, I think, needed a buzzer beater to beat Georgetown, who sucked. So give me Utah State here.
Yeah, I'm also on State.
All right, State moving on to play Purdue. Number 5, Gonzaga versus number 12, McNeese. Ever since the bracket came out, another one where I didn't even do much research on it. It just jumped off the page to me. I think McNeese is going to win this game. From the few times I've watched them this year, I know that they don't play in a great conference, but they just dominated teams. And it wasn't because the teams that they were playing were, I mean, not a great conference, but they just have a lot of dudes. Like, they have guys that Will Wade was even saying the other day. They have guys in their starting 5 that would be starting at a bunch of power conference programs if they were given the opportunity. And you would have to think, especially if Will Wade leaves, these are all guys that will probably go, and we'll see them next year transferring up to a school like a Mississippi State or like a TCU, schools like that are pretty solid programs, but they're hovering around this kind of middle tier side of those top teams. But it is kind of funny that McNeese State's best player was a transfer from TCU last year, Shahada Wells. But I'm going to take them. Gonzaga, haven't been a big believer in them all year. They've been playing better down the stretch, but they still don't really have that top-end talent. That was their major weakness, I think, throughout the year. So I'm going to go with McNeese there in the upset.
I agree with that completely. I actually have McNeese in my Elite 8, I believe. Fascinating enough, which I don't know why, but it just kind of worked out that way. But yeah, no, Gonzaga, I don't think it's a team that kind of has that talent much anymore, at least this year, that they usually have in previous years, especially as a 5 seed going up against a very talented McNeese State, who I think has, 4 guys averaging double-digit points. I can't really confirm that right now, but I think it was 4 guys averaging over 10 per game. But yeah, I'm rolling with McNeese.
Yeah, I'm also going with McNeese, Luke. And don't worry, I have James Madison in my Elite Eight in my bracket. Not because I was trying to be, trendy and be that guy. It just kind of happened. Like, I looked up in the Sweet 16, they were playing A&M, and I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't trust A&M going that deep. I might as well go with the Cinderella story. But, yeah, no, I have McNeese winning this game.
I don't know if Pat is live in the stream watching or not, but whoever said it before the stream, he already said I knew Wagner would win outright.
We all can. The best too.
All right. So we got McNeese there in an upset. Number 4, Kansas. Number 13, Samford. Joe, you think Samford pulling off an upset here?
I do. I think Samford's going to win this game. I kind of said it last night. The way they play, the way they press you for a full, 40 minutes, full court, the lack of depth that Kansas has, I think the altitude is going to affect that too. I know that's kind of a cheesy cop-out as well. And I'm definitely being a square, picking Samford and McNeese State. That's why I have McNeese in the Sweet 16 in my bracket, because I did this last year with it was Charleston and Furman. Then I had Charleston going to the Sweet 16. But, yeah, I'm going to go with McNeese here to the Sweet 16. I'm going to go with Samford winning this game just because I think Kansas, their depth is a real concern. And even if, they are more talented, but especially if you get guys in foul trouble, this could be a tough, very, very tough game for Kansas. They definitely got the best of the 13s, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think when I originally made my bracket here, I had Samford, but I flipped to Kansas. I'm not a big believer in Kansas. I think this is one of the reasons why I picked McNeese in round of 32. I think it's a really favorable matchup for them, actually, no matter which one they get. But, yeah, I'll roll with Kansas on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kansas, too. I think this is a game that a lot of people might be overthinking. I know NCAA tournament, they always say, is a matchup-dependent sport. But at the same time, I'm looking at Kansas against Samford. The Kansas and Bill Self does what he does every year for a reason. And his 2 best players sat out last week at the Big 12 tournament and rested just for this, to get ready for this. I've kind of talked to myself into Kansas maybe even making a little bit of a run. But I'll sleep better at night knowing I picked Kansas to beat Samford than the other way around. That's how I'll put it. And yeah, I'll have Kansas moving on there. All right, South Carolina versus Oregon, another one where I've seen a lot of people take 11 over 6s. I'm going with South Carolina. I just think playing in the SEC this year is going to have them better tested and more ready for this game. They haven't played their best ball down the stretch, but they showed when they're playing well, they can compete with just about anyone. And Oregon, another team that needed a miracle run there.
There you go.
Sorry about that, guys. I completely zoned out. I'm going to go with South Carolina here.
Yeah.
This is the toughest game for me, but I'm going to go with South Carolina. I'll just move on there. That was awkward.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with South Carolina too. I think Oregon's definitely been more on the inconsistent side this season. So yeah, I'm rolling with South Carolina. Won't really overthink that one too much.
All right, South Carolina moves on. I'm also going with Creighton here. Anything on this game, guys?
Yeah, Creighton.
All right, Texas versus the winner of tonight's first 4 game in Virginia, Colorado State. I think Colorado State's going to win, and then I have Texas winning that one. Texas, I think on paper, one of the 10 most talented teams in this entire NCAA tournament. Can they put it all together? Kind of like a Michigan State team. They've struggled to be consistent throughout the year, but I do like them to at least beat Virginia or Colorado State. Okay, wait. Big news as we just were talking. Kevin McCullough is out for the NCAA tournament.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
We flip?
Bill Self just said that.
No. Is that no? It's got to be a smoke screen.
After I literally just said I'm talking myself into Kansas making a little bit of a run.
That's crazy. I'm glad I got Sam. I wonder what the line will shift to. So I got
Yeah, it's got to
Samford.
be off the board already.
I'll look right now. I'm just curious. I'm gonna go. I'll go on draft. We'll go on DraftKings. We'll see. That's huge news. That's insane that he's going to be out for the whole tournament.
Who tweeted that, Rothstein?
No, at Jordan Gusky. He is a University of Kansas athletics for the Topeka Capital Journal, but then Matt Norlander from CBS Sports.com quoted it, so it's legit.
Okay, yeah, that is. So right now it's still up. It's right now Samford +8. If you guys,
Wow.
if you want to roll over as we're live, it's Samford +8 right now. I already got him in at 7.5, but yeah, +8 at -108 right now.
I'm
Gonna
not
down.
falling for the trap. It should have been taken down off the board already.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. It's down already. It's crazy.
Like I don't know. I think it's a trap.
Could be a trap. It could be.
I'm just not going to touch that one.
Are we keeping it Kansas though? Are we going back? Or are we just gonna?
I still have Kansas. Luke, you're the deciding factor there.
I'll keep it at Kansas.
All right. Sorry, I said I had Texas. You guys?
I'm actually rolling with Colorado State if they win. If it's Virginia, I'm rolling with Texas.
Wagner's on a 15 to run. I'm just laughing at my TV. And I'm going Texas. Texas was the team I initially had in the Final Four. I just cut my finger. Texas is a team I had in the Final Four when I did my first, gut reaction bracket. I switched that since then, but I think Texas wins their first round game.
All right. Yeah, I got Texas there as well. Does St. Peter's have a chance to knock off Tennessee, or are we rolling with Tennessee there?
Oh, Tennessee.
No.
All right, we move on. All right, we go to the round of 32. We'll go back up. UConn, FAU. I'll spoil it. I think you kind of spoiled it at the beginning, Luke. FAU for me. UConn, reigning national champion. Reigning national champion hasn't made it to the second weekend since 2016 when Duke did it after winning it all in 2015. Joe, I know you're going to take UConn here, but majority rules. The Owls moving on.
I'm okay with that. I mean, like I said, if that trend does continue, it wouldn't shock me. It would suck. I would be, want to drive my car off a bridge. But I mean, obviously, I think UConn's a better team if they stay healthy. I think they'll be able to beat FAU. But the one thing with that, like I always said, with all these lower seeds, if FAU keeps it close, even in a majority UConn crowd, because this game would be in Brooklyn, you'll have everyone else, not there for UConn. You'll have the freaking vendors start rooting for FAU. So it would shock me, but it wouldn't be the most shocking thing to happen in the tournament, if you ask me. But I obviously think UConn would win.
All right. Well, there's our first major turn of the bracket there. We got FAU moving on. Number 5, San Diego State versus number 4, Auburn. I got Auburn. They're plus 380 to win this region. Number 4 team in KenPom. I just think their dominant nature from throughout the year. I don't think it got enough credit. Even with people saying that they're not at the same team away from home, they went to neutral site there in the SEC tournament, were able to win it. I just think their athleticism, they match up really well with San Diego State, like strength and athleticism wise, and they probably have athletes that are a tier above San Diego State even. So I'm going to take Auburn to advance.
I'm a giant rematch guy. I love it. So give me San Diego State FAU on a rematch, Sweet 16. Give it to me.
I actually have San Diego State winning this game in my bracket. I just think Coyle, I do agree that Auburn does match up very well. But my whole thing is with San Diego State, just like with St. Mary's, like I said, I'm going to spoil it. I picked St. Mary's to beat Alabama in their game as well. But San Diego State, I think, will be able to control the tempo. I had this game, not because of the rematch thing, but I had a UConn-San Diego State national title game rematch up in Boston. But I'm going to go with San Diego State here to pull off the upset here and then have a FAU-San Diego State Sweet 16 game.
All All right, we go to BYU, Illinois. This is a game that I would think the total is north of 165 when it comes out if we get this matchup. I'm going to go with BYU, though. Illinois really struggles on the defensive end. BYU is not much better, but I think BYU's just offensive scheme is going to give an Illinois team that has really struggled against basically any offense that they've played this year. BYU is just a tough team to prepare for on a quick turnaround with the screens that they run and all the different kind of action. It's hard to prepare for if you're not a good, disciplined defensive team. So I'm going to take BYU in an upset there.
I like the Illini here. I don't really have much reasoning behind it, but like I said earlier, actually I did say earlier in the season, I'm more running behind the idea of Illinois going, further in the tournament than not going far. I like them to win this one here.
Yeah, I have Illinois to the Elite Eight just because I think Shannon will be able to shoot him out of a lot of tough games. I think BYU is going to kind of be a little shell-shocked by having to play a guy that good. You look for the most part BYU in the Big 12, and that big win against Kansas, which kind of cemented them. They won some big games at home. Ultimately, I think a 6 seed. Even they were supposed to be a 5. I still think a 6 might have even been just a bit high. I thought they were going to be more so a 7 seed. But I'm going to go with Illinois here. I just think that the talent will be able to carry them through into the Sweet 16.
Just watching this first half under lose painfully. All right, yeah. So Illinois there. Drake, Iowa State. I'm going with another upset here. I'm taking Drake to the Sweet 16. I think they match up well with Iowa State. Iowa State bread and butter is that defense, and Drake's got that elite score to kind of compromise that, I think. And athletically, talent-wise, there's not that huge of a gap, I think, between these two squads. Drake, if you put them in the Big 12, I'm not saying that they would have the same exact season as Iowa State, but I think that they would hold their own and probably be a mid-tier team and probably be a tournament team around this 8, 9, 10 mark as an at-large. I think they're that good of a squad. So I'm going to take Drake with the upset here over Iowa State and have my first 2 going home in the round of 32.
Actually, oh, go ahead. You're good.
No, Luke, I will let you go.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I got Iowa State here. Actually, they're my final 4 teams. So the fact you got them bounced in round of 32 is a little tough on my end. But I like the way they played in the Big 12 tournament there. Knocked off Houston by 30, which was insane. Defense was just outstanding. So I'm going to roll with them. I think defensive teams in this tournament really can go far when they're able to control the pace and shut down the team's best scorer. So give me State.
I think Iowa State's going to win in a suffocation. I have them moving on. I said if Iowa State got the right draw, I could see them in the Final Four. Like I said, I don't have them going to the Final Four in this one. But I will take them to win this game against Drake.
All right. Here we go down to the West now. UNC versus Mississippi State. I have UNC in my bracket winning it all. They're my team to win the national title. Don't know how much I love that. I just kind of like the way the bracket opened up for them. But I think this game, whether it's Mississippi State or Michigan State, it's going to be a tough one. I think both of those teams kind of match up well. But I'm going to give UNC the nod here. I think start to finish, they've been one of the more consistent teams. They haven't been up there like UConn or Purdue and at their height, and Houston too, the most dominant, but I think consistent. Like I know what I'm getting on a game-to-game basis 9 times out of 10 from UNC. So I'm going to hang my hat on that for their consistency and take them to beat Mississippi State.
Agreed. I won't break it down too much. I think North Carolina is a better team than advance.
Agreed. Yep.
All right, St. Mary's versus Alabama, kind of a go versus a slow team. And I said in the last one that I think the slow would benefit a little bit more, but at the same time, now you go to the talent factor of it, and Grand Canyon doesn't have the talent that Alabama does, and the kind of the steamroll effect that they can have if they start getting out on you and in transition and stuff like that. I don't really have a great feeling on either of these teams for this matchup if they do, because they're actually the complete opposite. Alabama averages 91 a game, and St. Mary's is one of the top 5 defenses in the country and plays at one of the slowest paces. So the complete opposite. Would be really curious to see what the spread would be if these two teams were to meet up in the total. But for sake of the argument, I'll just take the better team in my eyes with Alabama. Move it on there.
I just think St. Mary's, Coyle, just because of how they play, like you said, but also Bama's lack of defense, I feel like will help a team that likes to go slow because I think the lack of defense will let them, even when they slow it down, be able to get better looks, kind of frustrate Bama on the defensive end. Like, we can't play defense to begin with. Now we got to try to defend you for 30 seconds at a time. And I think that's going to open up a lot. And that's why I think St. Mary's will kind of be able to just grind Alabama down and frustrate them and end up winning the game late. But I could see Bama winning this game, so I really can have it going either way.
Yeah, also a coin flip for me. I think the big thing here is Alabama has a major defensive problem. And I think St. Mary's is a team like you guys said can slow it down and play at their pace. And if Alabama goes on a cold streak, it's St. Mary's who's going to control it from there. So I'm going to roll St. Mary's.
Okay, St. Mary's going on there. New Mexico versus Baylor. I think that one would be a really high total too. Really fun potential game. A lot of points. I'm going to go with Baylor, though. I think when two teams play pretty much stylistically, a similar brand of ball, I think you just have to give the head nod to the better coach and the more talented team. So I'm going to take Baylor moving on there.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'll roll with Baylor.
All right. Baylor moving on. Number 10, Nevada versus 2, Arizona. Luke, I know you were saying you liked this Nevada team and Lucas at the point guard. You think that they can upset Arizona here?
No, I'm going to go with Arizona. Originally, I had Nevada, just kind of clicking through my bracket, but I think Arizona is just the better team here over Nevada. I do like Jared Lucas. I think he's a solid player, but I just think Arizona is going to overpower them a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going Arizona as well. Don't really got a lot to say.
Yeah, I'll take Arizona there too. Texas versus Tennessee. I think Texas, talent-wise, matches up well with them, but I think this is a potential breakthrough year for this Tennessee team. The best offensive players that they've had under Rick Barnes at Tennessee. Dalton Connect, I think if you take like the first 10 games of the season maybe out of it, once he got cooking there at Tennessee, I think he might have been the player of the year just because of how much he meant to Tennessee and how good he was down the stretch in the SEC, leading them to that SEC title. Just an awesome player. I think he's going to he's bound to have a great March. So I'm going to go with Tennessee here.
Same here. Well said. I got nothing else to say on that one, but yeah, big Dalton Connect guy. I think he's a solid player. Good character and everything like that too, like you were saying. Yeah, but I'm rolling with Tennessee.
I had Texas moving on, but I will concede because you guys kind of already said it. I think I don't trust Rick Barnes. That's why I kind of picked against them. But I have no problem if Tennessee wins this game.
South Carolina and Creighton. I think this would be a fist fight type of a matchup. We'd see a lot of physical action, but I'm going to go with Creighton. I think when they're at their best, they're one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the tournament. And I think they have the best big 3 in the tournament as well with Kalkbrenner, Ryan, Trey Alexander, and Taylor Shireman out there. So I think this is it's a little bit of a harder trio for South Carolina to kind of outscore. So I'm going to go with Creighton.
Agreed. Creighton, I just think they're better than South Carolina. I think their little magical run ends here.
Yep, Big East. Give me Creighton there.
Well, Kansas now after the news, they might not even make it out of the first round. But McNeese, I had them beating Kansas regardless of McCullough playing or not. And Luke, I'm with you. I had them to the Sweet 16 as well. Everyone liked McNeese, especially with the news of McCullough here.
What's McNeese's odds to get to the Sweet 16?
I think it was plus 550.
I might take that. I mean, because if you're betting on Gonzaga and McCullough's definitely out, I think you got a pretty good chance of winning both those money lines. I don't know though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys with McNeese. While we're looking quick, I also had McNeese to the Sweet 16. I had them playing against Samford, of course, but I'm still going to go with McNeese here to advance to the Sweet 16.
All right, McNeese moving on. Sweet 16, Cinderella run. Purdue, Utah State. I said last night, I think regardless of if Purdue plays Utah State or TCU in this matchup, I think Purdue's going to win this one pretty comfortably either way. You guys all like Purdue to move on as well?
Agreed.
Yes, and the Samford spread has just gone down to +7 at -110.
I'm still surprised it didn't come off the board. Maybe it did come off the board before we even looked, but
yeah.
All right. So we got Purdue moving on there. We go up to the south now. Florida Marquette. If we get this matchup, I think that's going to be a fun one, especially if Kolek is good to go. I think Florida has a chance to pull off the upset in this one. My bracket, I have Marquette, but I've been flipping back and forth. Give me Florida here, actually, with Shaka Smart not having made it to the second weekend since that Final Four run with VCU over 13 years ago now, I believe it is. I think his tournament woes continue, and I'm going to take Florida to move on.
I'm going to go with Marquette personally, just because I had them going to the Sweet 16. I had them playing Colorado here. So that's kind of the reasoning. But if Kolek, is still not 100%, like you said, Shaka Smart Coil hasn't been to the second weekend in a while. I'm going to go with Marquette, very close, but it wouldn't shock me if Florida pulls off this upset.
Yeah, I think with my reasoning with Marquette so far has been I think this is a guard-driven tournament, and Kolek's the best guard in my opinion. And I'm going to roll with Marquette for this one. And hopefully he can be 100% for this game if he's not 100% for Western Kentucky, which is not looking like he's going to be. But give me Marquette.
All right, Marquette moving on there. Kentucky versus Texas Tech. That's another one where as long as Kentucky doesn't shit their pants and lose that game to Oakland, I think they're going to beat either Texas Tech or NC State pretty comfortably. So I got Kentucky moving on.
Agreed. Kentucky, I think their talent is just better than Texas Tech's, even with the inconsistency. I think Kentucky. There you go, Jimmy. Do it. Get nervous. Love that. I'm gonna go Kentucky.
Yeah, I have Kentucky here too. I think what worries me with them is their defensive woes. I think they let up way too many streaky, games where they just let up like 10, 12, 15-point runs. They kind of woes on defense, but give me Kentucky on that one.
All right, go up to Duke versus James Madison now. I have Wisconsin in my bracket actually knocking off Duke here. I think if Duke gets to this matchup, I think they're going to just be able to out-talent James Madison. James Madison's been a good team, but it kind of goes back to my logic where like the Alabama-Tennessee game, or excuse me, Alabama-Charleston game. James Madison hasn't really seen that many teams like a Duke this year. Duke's got the athletes. Duke's got some size. Duke's got the skill set that James Madison hasn't really had to deal with. I think this would be a pretty fun game and a pretty high-scoring up and down game, but I will take Duke. I like their matchup there. I have Wisconsin beating them in my bracket just because I think Wisconsin's a more veteran team than this younger Duke squad, but I would take Duke over James Madison if we got this matchup.
Luke?
Sorry. I think honestly with James Madison, if they can do it against Wisconsin, I think they got a shot to do it against Duke as well. I personally rolled with James Madison in my bracket, so I'm going to stick with that. But it would be an interesting game to watch there.
I'm also going with JMU just because my whole thing is with Duke. I've thought they're soft. I've been saying this. I think James Madison will be able to beat Duke. Once again, especially too, you get the whole crowd behind you. Everyone's going to be rooting against Duke. Everyone hates Duke. That's why I think James Madison pulls it off and goes on to the Sweet 16.
Luke, you said JMU as well?
Yep.
All right. Houston versus A&M. I have another one seed falling here. I'm going to take A&M to win 16 offensive rebounds per game, or it might even be 17, whatever they are, the number one team in the country at offensive rebounding. Houston hasn't seen a team like that all year. Houston's just so used to dominating the glass. They're going to be thrown off for a little bit when somebody else is able to execute on the glass against them. And Wade Taylor, I think, can be one of the best players in the country. And we said it best in the first one. If Nebraska beats Texas A&M by 20, I won't be surprised at all. If Texas A&M makes a run to the Final Four, I'll be a little surprised, but won't be that shocked that they have the ability. We've seen it throughout the year and last year too in spurts. But what team shows up in the tournament remains to be seen. But I think you're going to have to take some chances. I'm going to take A&M over Houston. Haven't bought into Houston long-term the entire season, and I think that if Texas A&M can get them in a bit of a shootout, that's going to be a problem for them.
I'm going with A&M as well in this game, Coyle. We talked about it last night, so I won't spend too much time talking about it again, but I have A&M advancing on to the Sweet 16 as well.
I mean, I got Houston. Obviously I think they do have a solid defense. I do think they are shaky sometimes offensively, and A&M's definitely be able to take advantage of that. But I'd roll with Houston, but let's put in some Texas A&M, roll with the Aggies.
All right, we go to a Final Four rematch from last year. Number 8 FAU versus number 5 San Diego State. Two teams, a lot of guys from last year's squad back. If we do get to this matchup, I think I'm going to give San Diego State the nod again. I think they match up well with FAU, and defensively, they've got guys that can then guard those scores. Like I said, with FAU, 3 guys that average 13 or more. San Diego State has seen a lot of great offenses this year in the Mountain West. They have the athletes and the bodies to kind of contain FAU. So I'm going to go with San Diego State here, moving on to the Elite Eight. Joe?
I believe I have the Owls in an upset here. A little rematch, and then get a little bit of revenge here. Give me the Owls.
I'm going to go with San Diego State. Coyle, I'll ride with you on this one. I just think, once again, being able to control the tempo, I think FAU will get bounced again to San Diego State, and it'll be a tough end for the little FAU run. But I think San Diego State goes on to the Elite Eight if this game happens.
All right, Illinois versus Iowa State. I definitely don't think Iowa State's going to be able to outscore this Illinois team if it gets into a shootout. So I'm going to take Illinois there to advance to the Elite Eight.
I agree.
I had Iowa State, but go ahead.
I'll go Illinois there.
That's fine.
All right, we go down now to the West. North Carolina, St. Mary's. I think North Carolina, if they get this matchup, I think they're going to steamroll them.
For sure.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Baylor, Arizona. Super fun game if we get this one. Track meet style, a lot of points. I'm going to go Baylor, though. I'm buying into this team over the second half of the year. They've been playing a lot better defense. Got 6 guys that score over 10 points a game, too. That's tough to come by in the tournament, so not too reliant on one guy. I think Arizona, too, if Caleb Love's not making his shots, he'll keep shooting, and that hurts the team at the end of the day. So I'm going to go with Baylor to win this game.
Agreed, Baylor. I had them going. I actually have them in the Final Four.
I'll take Baylor as well.
All right. Tennessee versus Creighton. I think that would be a really awesome game as well. Connect versus that big 3 of Creighton. I think Creighton might just have a little bit too many guys, and Tennessee too reliant on one guy there in Connect. So give me Creighton to win that game.
Agreed.
I agree as well. I have Creighton in my Final Four.
All right. Number 1, Purdue versus number 12, McNeese. Purdue will win away from the Elite Eight. They have to face another double-digit seed here in their path. You think McNeese continues the magic, or Purdue breaks through and gets to the Elite
Give me
Eight?
McNeese.
I think Purdue does it, but I will say, how funny would it be if Purdue lost to yet another double-digit seed to end their season?
If
But I think
Stanford or McNeese.
They'd be thinking about it, dude. They would. They would literally beat the 16 team. They're like, all right, that's out of the way. We don't have to do it again now. We want to face another one the rest of the tournament. And then they get McNeese Sweet 16, and they're like, oh, shit. And then they lose.
McNeese at that point, I think, would have 32 wins, too. So it's not even like you're getting a not great 12 seed out there. But I think Purdue's going to win that game.
All right. I'll take Purdue as well. I think the big thing with McNeese is not much height in the front court. They kind of just rely on a bunch of athletes and scrappy guys. I think that's a game where Zaki would be able to dominate in that one. So, all right, we got Purdue going to the Elite Eight as well. And then 2 more matchups to decide that. Kentucky-Marquette be another really fun game if we get it. Give me Kentucky, though. I think that I'm buying into a Reed Shepherd NCAA tournament run. I think he has his March moment this year, and he has a breakthrough performance throughout this tournament and stakes his claim as a potential top 5 pick in next year's draft. So I'm going to take Kentucky to knock off Marquette there.
I agree.
I go with Marquette. I won't get into it, but.
All right. This would be awesome if we get this matchup, a 9 versus 12 with the trip to the Elite Eight on the line. A&M, James Madison. Joe, this was what we were talking about last night. A&M 18-1 to make the Elite Eight. James Madison 40-1 to make the Elite Eight. I'll go with A&M. I think if Madison gets this far, their luck or their Cinderella run will run out, and I think Texas A&M better suited to continue playing this deep with the way that they play. And if they're hot, they can be as good as anyone.
I mean, I'm going with JMU. Like I said, I have in my bracket this exact game. I have James Madison winning just because I think the inconsistency with A&M will catch up to them just because of how I have been able to trust them all season. That's why I would pick JMU here, even though if we do get this game, it wouldn't be like a surprise to me if A&M won.
Yeah, I got A&M here as well.
All right. So we have a 5 versus a 3 with San Diego State versus Illinois. We have a 9 versus a 3 with A&M versus Kentucky. We have a 1 versus a 3 with Purdue and Creighton. And then a 1 versus a 3 in North Carolina and Baylor. So each year we kind of get a weird one. A 5-3, that's kind of funky. And then 9-3 would definitely be funky. All right, we'll start up here in the East. San Diego State, Illinois. San Diego State go back-to-back Final Fours or Illinois? Joe, you start us off with that one.
I think if we got to this point, I know I've been talking about how San Diego State, they can control the game, all that stuff. I would go with Illinois here because at the end of the day, even if they're frustrated, Shannon has shown at times in the Big Ten playing teams that like to go slower, he can still shoot their way out of it. Because if San Diego State, the one thing about them playing defense, they are reliant on making shots, which, they have guys that are capable of doing that. But if they have an off night, they can stop, Illinois as many times as possible. But if you're not converting those stops into points, Illinois can still shoot their way out of it. And I think that'll happen. The Illini will go in what I think will end up being the ugliest of these 4 games to the Final Four.
Luke?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Illinois, too. I don't see San Diego State really having the talent this year to go back-to-back Final Fours. I don't think this is an as talented team as it was the year prior. Illinois, I think, can just shoot better than San Diego State can, so I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, I like Illinois, too. I think San Diego State's offensive woes will stop them short at one point in this tournament. They went the last 6 minutes, I heard today, in the Mountain West title game without scoring a point. That's a pretty insane drought. And if you're going to go on a drought like that against a team like Illinois, even if your defense is that good, it's going to be hard to kind of overcome that. So give me Illinois there in that matchup. North Carolina, Baylor, this would be an awesome one. I got North Carolina winning it all. I think at the end of the day, their defense is just better than Baylor's. Offensively, I think they're pretty even on par, but I'm going to take this North Carolina team that's really experienced as well and relies on a slew of veterans to advance there to the Final Four.
Agreed.
I have Baylor actually going to the Final Four beating North Carolina, but I will have no problem with North Carolina wins.
All right, Purdue, Creighton, be a great matchup of 2 elite big men there in Edey and Kalkbrenner. You guys want to, Joe, pick yours first because I'm still undecided on this game.
Yeah, I think I actually have this as one of the matchups as well. It's funny, I had all the 3 seeds making it to the Elite 8, but I'm going to go with Creighton here because I think that the one thing Edey's been able to do is, not really have to worry about other guys with height. Kalkbrenner has the height that can neutralize Edey, and I think at the end of the day that Creighton is built better around their big man than Purdue is. So I would go with Creighton here if we got this game.
Agreed. I think I have in my bracket Creighton, McNeese, and I just think Creighton, even if it was against Purdue, is just a better matchup. They have the big man for Edey, which not many teams in this tournament can say they do. So I'm going to go with Creighton in this one.
All right, Creighton moving on. I do think this is the revenge tour for Purdue. I probably would have taken them. I think they're going to at least get to the Final Four, but give me Creighton there, or give us Creighton there, actually. All right, last one. Number 9, Texas A&M versus 3, Kentucky. Does A&M's Cinderella-type run end here, you think, guys, and Kentucky to the Final Four?
Yes, I think Kentucky wins that game, goes to the Final Four.
If Marquette beats Kentucky here, I would love this matchup to get to the Final Four for Marquette. But I'll roll with Kentucky.
Yeah, I'll take Kentucky too. A&M's beat them twice this year. It would be pretty crazy if they met up for a 4th time and A&M beat them for a 3rd. But yeah, I'll go with Kentucky there as well. All right, we got 3 threes and a 1. The Final Four, boys. We're here. Illinois, North Carolina. I think very similarly built on the offensive end. You got Baycott and Danger. You got Harrison Ingram, Coleman Hawkins. You got good guards in R.J. Davis and Terrence Shannon. Pretty comparable. Domask for Illinois, as well as Cormac Ryan for and Elliot Cadeau for North Carolina. That would be an awesome game if we get this one. But I will take North Carolina here to go to the final.
Agreed.
Yeah, if we get this game, I would agree. North Carolina gets it done.
All right, Kentucky versus Creighton here. Joe, Kentucky or Creighton first? Went into the final.
Kentucky, I'm gonna go. And I had Kentucky in my bracket. I have Kentucky losing to UConn in the national title game, so I am going to go with Kentucky to beat Creighton, and advance the national title game.
Give me Creighton in this one. I think Kentucky, defensively, like I said, they can go on those streaks where they just can't figure it out defensively. And Creighton, I think, can just shoot the ball just as well when they go on those streaks. So give me Creighton here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Creighton as well. I think the major difference is the veterans. Kentucky is going to rely on Reed Shepherd, Rob Dillingham a lot in their backcourt. And then Antonio Reeves is a veteran, but he's really the key veteran they rely on. They rely on Mitchell, but not that much. You'll get Creighton, Shireman, Kalkbrenner, Ashworth, and Alexander are all veteran guys who have been there, done that before. I think that experience helps them get to the final here. All right, UNC, Creighton. Joe, who wins the national title here if we get this matchup?
I have UNC winning this game. Shout out Ben Hoffmanner. You did it. UNC wins the national title against Creighton. But I will say if this does happen and Creighton wins, another reason why the Big East got disrespected, because that would be 4 national championships in the past, I think, 7 years, I want to say, Coyle, because what was it, 2016 and 2018 for Nova?
Yeah, 2016, 2018.
So, yeah, 4 in the last 8 years, you have the Big East winning. I think that'd be crazy, but I think UNC is the better team than Creighton and ultimately will get the job done.
Agreed. I think there's way more talent on UNC. I think they have more experience, at least in this spot. So give me UNC.
All right, you heard it here first. The Tar Heels will be cutting down the nets. I think, guys, we have to get off this stream and go right to the sports book and put all these region winners in. Put it in a little $5 parlay for a little beef bracket here. But all right, final score, we're going to go 153 points because over-under would be 152.5 according to my power ratings, which have been automatic the past few
I thought you just pulled that out of your ass. I'm like, holy shit, Coyle. You'll say, what a prediction if we get this game. But that's okay, 153.
All right, there we go. North Carolina winning the national championship for the Beef Upfront bracket, knocking off Illinois in the Final Four, and then knocking off Creighton in the championship, who knocks off Kentucky in the Final Four. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into our stream. One more episode from me coming up after this, and that'll be it until next week, where we'll reassess the entire bracket, what's gone down, and then preview the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 ahead. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk soon.